President Trump's fast-paced approach prioritizes speed over caution, leading to policy mishaps like deporting Venezuelan women to El Salvador without proper facilities. His administration enforces radical reforms, including using wartime powers for deportations and deep budget cuts by the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency, causing legal challenges. Rapid decision-making has triggered confusion, such as with 25% tariffs on imported vehicles and cuts to essential federal services like Social Security. While some supporters appreciate Trump's drive to fulfill promises, others worry about inconsistent foreign policy and long-term effects. The push to implement changes quickly before the midterms has created political uncertainty, court battles, and concerns over poorly executed policies. Meta is building a $10 billion, 4 million square foot AI data center on 2,700 acres in Holly Ridge, Louisiana, aiming to revive an impoverished area. The project will use 15% of Louisiana's electricity, prompting Entergy to propose new gas-fired plants, raising concerns that ratepayers may bear the long-term costs. About 500 permanent jobs with 82,000 average salaries are expected, offering hope to an area where 25% of residents live in poverty. Louisiana lawmakers approved a sales tax exemption, and local landowners sold nearly 1,300 acres to attract Meta's project. Concerns remain about stranded assets and competition, especially after Chinese startup DeepSeek showed it can build powerful AI models with less power. Goods prices, which had been deflationary for decades, began rising again in late 2023, and new tariffs by President Trump could push inflation even higher. Between 2011 and 2019, prices of core goods fell by 1.7%, while service prices increased by 2.7%, but that trend has reversed since the pandemic. Tariffs on steel, aluminium, and other goods, particularly from China, Canada, and Mexico, are increasing costs and causing companies reliant on imports to plan for price hikes. Economists predict that the combination of tariffs and reduced global competition will keep inflation around 3% in 2025, above the Federal Reserve's 2% target. Without deflationary forces from globalization, the Fed may need to raise interest rates to control inflation or allow higher prices to persist. AI agents, which make decisions and take actions, are crucial for companies like OpenAI, Apple, and NVIDIA, driving new products and revenue. While AI agents have improved outcomes like Adecco's job placements and Visa's dispute resolution, adoption remains low, with only 6% of companies deploying them. NVIDIA CEO noted AI's next-generation reasoning needs 100 times more computing power, increasing infrastructure demand, though investor caution grows after CoreWeave's weak IPO. Many companies, like the NHL, are in the proof-of-concept phase, using AI for insights, but must overcome challenges like adapting to older video formats. Despite hurdles, optimism remains that AI agents will be widely adopted, with billions invested and major advancements expected in 1 to 2 years. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company xAI has merged with his social media platform X in an all-stock transaction valuing xAI at $80 billion and X at $33 billion. The merger combines xAI's AI technology, including its chatbot Grok, with X real-time data and global distribution power, aiming to accelerate growth and improve data access. Executives believe the combined company xAI Holdings Corp will be more attractive to investors and easier to raise funds for than the companies operating separately. X and xAI, which share investors and resources, had been working on the merger for months, and a new entity was registered in Nevada with Musk as president. The deal comes after X's revenue declined following Musk's 2022 takeover, but is expected to see ad revenue growth this year, while xAI had recently been valued at around $50 billion. Zipline, a drone delivery startup, is outpacing Amazon and Alphabet in the race for aerial package delivery, offering fast and precise drop-offs using advanced drones. Currently operating in Pea Ridge, Arkansas, and Mesquite, Texas, Zipline has partnered with Walmart and plans to expand to Chipotle and other retailers. Unlike competitors, Zipline systems lower package via a 300-foot cable, ensuring precise and gentle deliveries even in strong winds. The FAA is expected to introduce new regulations to streamline autonomous drone operations, potentially accelerating industry growth. While Amazon and Alphabet are also expanding drone delivery efforts, Zipline's advanced technology and experience in medical supply transport have positioned it as an industry leader. President Trump and his administration are using an aggressive attack strategy to downplay a national security controversy involving sensitive military discussions on a Signal chat that mistakenly included a journalist from The Atlantic. Despite expressing private frustration, Trump publicly shifted blame to The Atlantic and its editor Jeffrey Goldberg, while minimizing concerns raised by former officials and both Democrats and Republicans. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who created the chat, took responsibility for the mishap, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio and other officials expressed frustration over using Signal for sensitive discussions. While the National Security Council announced a review, the Justice Department has not initiated a formal investigation, raising concerns about the administration's handling of the situation. Facing growing criticism, including from some Republican allies, Trump pivoted by announcing 25% tariffs on global auto imports to distract from the controversy. Health insurers received double payments from Medicaid for hundreds of thousands of patients enrolled in multiple states, costing taxpayers $4.3 billion over 3 years. Medicaid payments continued in the old state even after patients moved to another state and received care there, with the largest insurers, Centene, Elevance Health, and United Health Group, collecting significant portions of these duplicate payments. States responsible for verifying eligibility often fail to identify moved recipients until annual eligibility checks, while the Federal Medicaid Agency did not screen for double payments. Emergency pandemic rules further complicated disenrollment processes, increasing duplicated payments from $814 million in 2019 to $2.1 billion in 2021, before being revoked in 2023. Insurers argue they follow regulations and return some funds, but state officials and experts say verifying residency and recovering improper payments remain difficult, leaving the issue unaddressed. The stock market's recent downturn is not entirely due to Trump's trade policies, as earnings growth has slowed in 9 of the 11 S&P 500 sectors and tech valuations have been reassessed. Although tariffs have impacted business confidence, earnings per share growth for consumer discretionary firms and industrial sectors started declining before the 2024 U.S. election. Technology stocks, once overvalued, have seen profits peak in 2024, leading to a collective 11.3% drop in the Magnificent Seven and contributing to the market's overall decline. While some corrections often precede recessions, historical data shows that market rebounds can follow significant drawdowns even without a recession. The economy, though cooling after the post-pandemic boom, shows resilience in some official indicators, but concerns remain about reduced capital spending and potential recession risks. President Trump signed an executive order imposing stricter voter identification requirements and barring the counting of absentee ballots received after Election Day. The order directs federal agencies to verify voter eligibility, enlisting the Justice Department and Social Security Administration to identify ineligible voters. Critics argue the order could disenfranchise eligible voters, particularly those who have changed their names or lack specific documents like passports or real ID. The order resembles the failed SAFE Act, which sought to tighten voting requirements but faced opposition for creating administrative burdens and potential voter suppression. Legal challenges are expected as experts claim Trump lacks the authority to enforce these voting restrictions without congressional approval. Corporate leaders initially celebrated Trump's presidency, expecting a golden age of economic growth fueled by stock market surges and business-friendly policies. However, Trump's unpredictable tariff policies triggered market volatility, erasing trillions in stock value and weakening consumer confidence amid fears of rising prices. CEOs and lobbyists have voiced concerns that aggressive tariffs and trade conflicts with key partners like Canada and Mexico could destabilize growth and investment. The Federal Reserve warns that Trump's tariffs could drive inflation higher while slowing economic expansion, causing businesses to delay hiring and major investments. Despite mounting criticism and uncertainty from investors and economists, Trump insists his tariff-driven strategy will ultimately boost domestic manufacturing and the U.S. economy in the long run. Atlantic magazine published Signal chat messages showing Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed U.S. military strike plans against Houthi militants before execution, raising security concerns. The text included specifics about the timing, weapons, and intelligence on targets, which are typically classified to protect operations and personnel. Officials are divided on whether Hegseth's messages were classified, with the White House insisting they were standard updates, while military experts argue they contained sensitive attack plans. The controversy intensified after National Security Advisor Mike Waltz admitted to creating the chat and mistakenly adding journalist, while CIA Director John Ratcliffe defended Hegseth's authority to declassify information. Critics argue that sharing such details in an unsecured chat violated intelligence protocols, though the administration maintains no war plans were disclosed. EquityZen and Forge Global are reducing the minimum investment in private companies to $5,000, allowing more individual investors to access high-risk, high-reward opportunities. A new partnership with Yahoo Finance will provide retail investors with data on about 100 pre-IPO companies, improving transparency in private markets. Despite the lower entry barrier, experts warn that private markets are complex, illiquid, and may require professional finance guidance. Trading shares of private companies isn't as seamless as public stocks, with transactions taking days to finalize and requiring a minimum 6-month holding period. While private companies can offer higher returns, they also have limited transparency and liquidity, and recent data suggests private equity investments have underperformed public markets. President Trump defended his national security advisor Mike Waltz after a report revealed that top administration officials discussed sensitive military plans in a Signal group chat that mistakenly included a journalist. The Atlantic reported that the chat included details about U.S. airstrikes and Yemen's Houthi militants, including weapons, targets, and timing, raising national security concerns. White House press secretary denied that war plans were shared, while journalist Jeffrey Goldberg insisted the messages contained highly classified information. Democratic Senator Mark Warner criticized the use of an unclassified messaging app for discussing military strategy, calling it a serious breach of security protocols. Despite backlash, Trump downplayed the incident as a minor mistake, while some Republicans defended the administration's focus on global threats. Many Canadians are boycotting travel to the U.S. due to President Trump's annexation threats and aggressive border tactics. The boycott has caused a significant drop in Canadian visitors, with February air travel down 13% and land crossings down 23% compared to the previous year. The U.S. Travel Association estimates that a 10% decline in Canadian tourism could result in $2 billion in lost spending and 14,000 job losses. Canadian airlines have reduced U.S. seat capacity, and many travelers are opting for destinations like Mexico, the Caribbean, and Spain instead. The combination of political tensions, border concerns, and the strong U.S. dollar has driven many Canadians to adopt a buy Canadian mindset, impacting American border town economies. Investors are increasingly scrutinizing a wide range of economic data, including bar and restaurant spending, job postings, and jury sales, to gauge the health of the U.S. economy. Concerns over trade restrictions and economic uncertainty have led traders to analyze sleepy numbers that were previously overlooked during more stable market conditions. Market reactions to economic reports have intensified, with indices experiencing significant swings in response to employment data, inflation figures, and home sales. Alternative data sources such as online job postings and niche surveys are being examined more closely as investors seek real-time insights ahead of official economic reports. While sentiment indicators have gained attention, their impact on market movements remains uncertain, as investors question whether negative sentiment will translate into actual economic slowdowns. President Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff echoed Kremlin viewpoints in an interview, stating that Russia is open to positive discussions on a Ukraine ceasefire. Witkoff met with Russian President Putin and claimed that many in eastern Ukraine prefer Russian rule, referencing Kremlin-run referendums denounced by the West. The U.S. is mediating ceasefire talks in Saudi Arabia, aiming to secure Black Sea trade routes and eventually negotiate a broader peace agreement. Russia and Ukraine have agreed not to attack each other's energy infrastructure, though Russia continues airstrikes on Ukrainian cities. European leaders worry that a Russia peace deal could allow Russia to rearm and threaten Ukraine and neighboring countries in the future. Scott Presler, a prominent MAGA activist, is working to make J.D. Vance president in 2028 while focusing on turning Pennsylvania permanently red. He has significantly reduced the Democratic voter registration advantage in Pennsylvania and aims to register 300,000 more conservative voters. Presler credits himself with helping Trump win Pennsylvania in 2024 and has been rewarded with an Oval Office meeting with Trump and Vance. He tirelessly campaigns across multiple states, living out of his Chevy Suburban and leveraging social media to mobilize conservative voters. Despite criticism for past controversial events, Presler has built a strong following, gaining support from conservatives, including evangelicals, through relentless grassroots efforts.